The film is called Gigantic. It's with Paul Dano and Zooey Deschanel, John Goodman, Ed Asner, Jane Alexander, a few others. It's a story about a young guy who's trying to adopt a Chinese baby. He's single. This rich guy comes into his store where he works. He's a mattress salesman. Buys a bed. His daughter then comes to pick the bed up. That's Zooey Deschanel, and they kind of have a weird, relationship. Little brother, for whatever reason, always wanted my parents to adopt a Chinese baby. So we sort of always were fascinated. My co-writer Adam Nagata and I were always kind of fascinated with how weird that was and like why he did it. And it was a prolonged period, too long, that he wanted my parents to adopt a Chinese baby. So I always loved that idea. And then there are various other things that are in there that are I would say that we mostly made the film taking that core of an idea and then finding other filmmakers that we loved and thought about what they did right in terms of telling these, because effectively it's a boy meets girl story, and that's kind of like the best and worst part of something like this. It's so told, that story, and so it's hard, and so we wanted to kind of put that on its ear. So it started with the Chinese baby thing, and then I think it worked, and then it went to weird relationships, and then there's a very surreal aspect of the movie that we really wanted in there to kind of set the movie on its ear a little bit. We're also big David Lynch fans, and kind of grew up on Twin Peaks, and I think that he's kind of the master of that, sort of setting up this absurd world, and then Frank Booth, whoever happens to be, this guy who walks around with oxygen, or Wild at Heart, or whatever. I mean, even Mulholland Drive, set up that absurd world and then never really pay attention to that absurd world. And I think that that's what's kind of masterful. Or Hal Ashby to that end, sort of another guy that's being there is, they never really bother to explain, and thank God, what Peter Sellers is doing. And I always found that so magical, and it's not pandering and all those things. So it's really, and Buñuel for that matter, and the discreet charm of the bourgeoisie is same thing. So that's kind of stuff we were really interested in, how can you make a real story but just not fill it with the tropes that we're used to in the relationship movie. So it's a love story. And then we kind of wanted to make a present tense movie, so yeah.